What's happening? It's Sir William, and today I want to talk to you guys about power. So overlanding full-time and living in the back of a Toyota 4Runner provides a multitude of different challenges and various different obstacles to overcome. One of the biggest that I've found over the past 2 years of full-time living out of the back of this thing is power. Trying to maintain power to all of my various different electronic devices has been a real dance, if you will. Arguably the most important thing that needs power is my fridge. My 𝐒𝐴 fridge is responsible for keeping the beer cold and the food fresh anytime I'm out on the trail. For that, I replaced the stock battery with an AGM battery, ran full-time power to the back, and now my fridge stays powered on at all times. And I can usually stay in one spot for right at around 2 days with that fridge going before the battery dies, or I have to start up and then recharge the battery again. Now, that being said, I've got other things that need to be charged. So I've got my phone, I've got cameras, iPads, I've got my laptop, camp lights, my mini rock crawler, my little fountain, my Dometic fountain thing. There's all kinds of stuff that needs power. And I constantly find myself doing some kind of crazy dance trying to power all these things up. And I also find myself using various different power banks. So I've got one power bank that's like a battery booster in case the battery does go dead. I can jump start the battery with it. That also has to stay charged up. I've got another big power bank that I use to charge the things that I can't plug into the battery at the same time and run it. It's a nightmare, man. Now, there's multiple different solutions to this problem out in the marketplace. One of them is a dual battery style setup. I can go with like a lithium ion battery as a secondary battery and then charge it up off the alternator using DC or solar, and then I have to run to an invert. It's a pretty complex system. The other solution is these power banks or power generators that you see. There's a couple different manufacturers out there that make them. You can get them in various different sizes from like 100 watts all the way up to 1500 watts and various different capacities, meaning how long they're going to last at that 100 to 1500 watts. And you can get down into the weeds very quickly with these things. Now, fortunately for you guys, I get companies reaching out all the time wanting me to test out their products. And right now, I am swimming in power banks. And what that means is I constantly get these emails asking if I want to test out these people's power banks. And I need power. So sure, why not test them out and tell you guys what I think? Recently, the folks over at AllPowers sent out one of their R600 power banks, and I figured I'd test it out and tell you guys what I think about it. The AllPowers R600 is essentially one big LiFePO4 battery. It's got 299 watt hours of capacity and a built-in 600 watt AC pure sine wave inverter. The R600 charges at 400 watts, which is nice. That means it's going to charge nice and fast whenever you plug it in, as opposed to some of the others that may take a very long time. The only drawback to this is it will not be able to be charged in the back of my 4Runner with the built-in inverter. With solar, it takes up to 300 watts, so you can plug up to 300 watts into this thing and charge it up. And I'm telling you, with the 400 watts plugged in or the 300 watt solar, you're going to charge this thing in no time. I was able to get it charged up pretty quickly with just the 12 volt cigarette lighter plug with no problems at all. It does also have a smart control and monitor inside the AllPowers app. I did not download the app to try it out, but know that that is available. I really enjoy the overall design of the R600. It's nice and compact. It's got a real easy to grab handle up on top. Right below the handle is a wireless charging pad. On the very front, you have a real easy to read display that tells you the exact percentage of the battery. You got a flashlight, which I think is kind of gimmicky myself. You got a 12 volt cigarette style outlet as well as two other small 12 volt outlets. You got two USB-C ports, two USB-A ports, and two AC outlet ports. Over on the right side is where all your inputs are, and I kind of like the inputs being over here on the right side. All right, well, now that we know what it looks like and what all it has to offer, let's test it out in the real world. All right, so I got the new AllPowers R600. I've got it up to 100%. I'm gonna plug the fridge up because I'm over here camping and this is such a nice place. I plan on staying for a while. So I'm gonna see how long the fridge will last on the new AllPowers R600. All right, so I've plugged a 12 volt in. I reach over and press the power button, try to turn on the fridge. It won't turn on. Maybe if I do this. Now, this part kind of threw me off at first because you have to actually turn on the DC output with the power button that's located next to the USB ports. It's kind of wonky, but that's how it is. And when the fridge comes on, it should pull somewhere around 50 to 60 watts. So it's running to maintain a temperature of 34 degrees. And let's see what time it is. All right, so it's 7:30, day one. I got it plugged in. It's gonna maintain a temperature of 34 degrees. And as you can see, it pulls around 40 watts. We'll see how she does. All right, so it is now 9:30 roughly. It's been running for 14 hours and we're at 26%. So definitely not gonna be a 2-day affair, but it'll get you through maybe a day and a half, I guess. We'll see. All right, so here we are. So 17 hours, and that's how long it took before the fridge no longer will power up. So you can see it's still got 13%. That means that you could probably still power something with this block. However, the fridge has got a low power cutoff, and it's set at the lowest setting, but still cut it off. So it's not providing a full 11.6 volts, I think is what the fridge cuts off at. But yeah, 17 hours. There you have it. When I got the R600, it did not come with a 12-volt charger. So the only way that I could charge it was either solar or through AC. And when I tried to plug it into the back of the truck, this is what happened. Yeah, it's definitely not going to work with the AC inverter inside the 4Runner. So solar it is. And the solar is actually quite surprising. I got the full 100 watts off of this 100 watt solar panel. So I'm pretty impressed with the solar panel actually producing what it's rated at. That's pretty abnormal in this world. Dude, 98 watts. Like I said, the real convenience of having one of these things is being able to plug all of my stuff at one time. And because I haven't had this ability, all of my stuff was dead, so what better way to test it out than go ahead and see if it'll charge everything that I own. Spoiler alert, it did it absolutely no problem. "35 watts of output. I've got the hardcore rechargeable lights charging. I've got the mini rock crawler charging. And I think the computer is actually already charged, so it's not taking anything, yeah. Yeah, computer's already charged, so it's not really taking anything, but 39 watts. The only other thing that I need to plug in, which I've run out of room for here, is the party speaker. All right, so we're at 43 watts with plugging in the battery, the lights, and the rock crawler. So I put the phone on, and now it's going as high as 65. Looks like it's going to stay right around 65. So charging the battery, all 4 rechargeable lights, mini rock crawler, and the phone, 65 watts. As you can see, with all of my goodies plugged in, I didn't even come close to the 600 watt limit that this thing offers. And it's safe to say that I probably never will. Now, you'll never be able to power up like a hair dryer or something like that in this, but for overall general electronics and keeping stuff plugged in, I even think that you'd be able to plug in like a TV or a projector or something like that. Anything under 600 watts, you can plug this thing in and it'll last you a good long time. I really appreciate you guys watching this. Hopefully you learned something. If you want to buy an AllPowers R600, click the links down in the description below. If you do click those links, it does help support the channel by paying a small commission that's not charged to you. I appreciate you guys watching. Till next time, you guys keep hanging in there like a hair on a biscuit, and remember, you can be happy if you've a mind to. Peace, y'all.